Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Elevating Your Life. I am just so excited to share with you an amazing gentleman. I've been a big fan of his books for years. I had the honor of meeting him personally recently. You're just going to love who we have on the show today. We have with us today Dr. Stephen Farmer. He is a licensed psychotherapist, soul healer, and author of several best-selling books and oracle cards, including Animal Spirit Guides, Earth Magic Oracle Cards, Children's Spirit Animal Cards, Healing Ancestral Karma, and the recently released Shaman's Path Cards. And Dr. Farmer offers individual consultations and relationship counseling in person or remotely by phone or Zoom. And he mentors and coaches. He does so much. So anyway, welcome, Dr. Farmer. Stephen, I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Well, thank you, Paula. I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me to be a guest. And yes, we did meet very recently. So good to see you again.
And I was just so excited. And your books are all fantastic, your cards. And I have to say, this one is just, it stays close to me. I love it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's me. Quite a few people have said that about that book. You know, I remember one fellow at a talk I gave years ago came up and God, he had so many pages that were dog-eared. You know, and he was Native American, which I thought was wow, okay, thank you for the endorsement, you know, and for the confirmation. So
I love that. That's what I do. Is I bend the corner of the page. It's called dog-eared. I did not know that.
Yep.
Love it. I love it. Well, I would love to have you share some of your background and kind of, Stephen, what drew you into what you do and
Sure.
the line of your teaching and helping others in the books you write.
Sure, glad to do so. And again, I'll try to keep it relatively brief, like we talked about before coming on the air. I've been a psychotherapist. I've been licensed since, you know, several years, you know, about 3 decades, I think. And it was about 28 to 30 years ago that I came across shamanism, and it's one of the things. It wasn't in the bio that particular way, that the one that you read, but as a shamanic practitioner, and I just got the bug. You know, something was telling me. I got signs along the way. I was introduced to a book called Way of the Shaman, so I went to a introductory course on shamanism, led by Michael Harner, who I believe is he wrote Way of the Shaman. And he's also the man who introduced a lot of what he called core shamanism here into Western civilization. And now there's a lot of people that have been introduced to it, either as a personal practice or even as a practitioner for others as well, doing healing work in that way. Anyway, that's what really, I left that 2-day course. It was only 2 days. And also, I want to qualify and say, it's not about becoming a shaman. You know, it's not an ambition. You know, there's a calling. I think that's a better term for it. And as a healer, as a psychotherapist and a healer, it was really hit at the right time. So I came out of there after 2 days going, okay, what else I can do to, you know, continue this training? And so I started grabbing different kinds of trainings in shamanism, you know, different traditions, Celtic, Tom Cowan, Celtic, Larry Peters, anyway, a few other people, Serge King and Huna, and just, you know, saw the commonalities that Harner talked about in the way of healing. Anyway, one thing led to another. I'd written some books as a therapist, one of which I revived and republished, called Adult Children of Abusive Parents. First book on childhood abuse that I know of, you know, and it's come a long way since then. Then, because of the introduction to shamanism and the healing properties of shamanism, started me on a course of writing in that genre or related to shamanism. And I was very clear. My intention really was to offer things that to draw from what I learned about shamanism, but offer it not necessarily as, oh, this is for those who are interested in shamanism. I want it to be much broader. Example would be the first book in that stream is Sacred Ceremony, not exclusive to shamanism, but yeah, it's a core of shamanic work, personal or otherwise. And then one thing led to another, and eventually, as you showed the book, animal spirit guides, power animals, animal spirit guides, oracle cards, power animal oracle cards, messages from your animal spirit guides, spirit animal message. It's just like there's a few titles, publications that I put out. I want to say co-created, because I think that's always the case, especially in this kind of realm here. And it just has brought me to the point now where I'm exploring other avenues and offering, what I know about and what I've learned about other avenues. Example, it's not just the spirit, it's not just the animals, that we can receive guidance from, but from nature, the natural world. I'm looking outside here at the tree, that our deepest ancestral memory, meaning generations ago, our ancestors who walked the land really didn't just live on the land, they lived with it. And that one word changes the focus and the locus. Yeah, yeah. So, in a very real sense, I'm just one individual who has been called to, for instance, messages from the spirits of nature. That's one of my latest oracle cards. Working with the ancestors, the deep ancestors, not just grandma and grandpa, but the deep ancestors, healing ancestral karma, messages from the ancestors, oracle cards. So, it's broadened my reach by having publications like this. And I'll just say one more thing about that. I think that it's very obvious in the work that you do, for instance, and what you present, to others, like interviewing people, the hosts like this, and doing your work directly. We are in a place of, there's a dichotomy of sorts, and I view us as a species as being very forgetful.
Mhm.
We forgot about living with the land. Easy to do, it's not about blaming anybody or blaming our ancestors. But the good news on the other side of that is that there's an awakening process going on in human consciousness. And I trust it's not too late, because there is definitely momentum to it. And we're beginning to look at things a little differently, to have what maybe 50 years ago would seem like pretty weird stuff, to talk about, to discuss, and to share, and to keep it close in. And now we could talk about it freely, and we have shows like yours where people are exposed to different points of view and different perspectives. So I am extremely grateful every day to be offering this kind of work. I feel very blessed to be able to do it, and I'm going to do it. Like this word retire, I don't know what that means. you know I love my work. I can't,
Yes,
I must say I really love my work.
yes. Oh, and that is so huge. And thank you for, the perspective, the information, the inspiration, everything that you're sharing with others. It makes a
Well,
difference in lives. It does.
yeah, well, Paula, I think we need all the guidance we can get,
Yeah, yeah.
spiritual, and even as spirit comes through other people, for instance, or other resources, and particularly, again, since you showed the animal book, the spirit animals, or animals, and the spirit animals that they are, you could say, representatives for.
And it's so fun. One of the greatest things for me in shaman training was that, that opens you up to how connected we are to the planet and the animals, and we can receive messages. We can receive, guidance, and it really opens up a lot of tools for us.
It really does. It's you go out your back door, or the plant that sits, on your desk. I mean, it's possible to, let me put it this way, that tree out there that I keep looking to the left, I can see from my office window here. Yeah, it's a tree. Okay, in one sense, just a tree. It has roots and leaves and branches and all that, and it's very pretty, and any number of descriptive terms about that tree. But there's another layer to it, and that's that with a certain shift in consciousness, in how we perceive the world, and specifically, to use that example, the tree, just by a slight shift, I can go into an imaginal realm. And by imagination, I don't mean fantasy, make believe, let's pretend, those are all valid, but I reframe imagination as the bridge that takes us into this other way of communicating and being with other beings on the planet. So that tree, in a sense, can become a messenger from the collective consciousness of all trees, or specific trees, all oak trees, all elm trees, all ficus, whatever it may be. But I like to say generally all trees. And there has been some recent articles I've seen too about how the forest is connected through the roots, that the trees actually communicate with one another. So, an example might be, I might say to this tree, and I'll just do it, here, and see what I get. Okay, just real quick. Tree spirit. I take a breath, I focus, I bring my consciousness into that place of awareness, that there's more to this tree. Tree spirit. Any message I need to receive right now, thank you for sending that to me. Simple message, a reminder. The word, and this is how I receive messages quite often, it's the inner voice. So what I heard was stay supple and flexible. And where I go with that is meaningful is, stay, yoga, stretch, don't get all like bound up like that. And flexible in attitude and expectation. So that was a good reminder. It's not new, but it's a reminder. I'm able to do that. I know that, but it's a good reminder to help me stay congruent with Spirit's will that's being expressed and represented by this tree and tree spirit that's coming through there, where that consciousness of tree spirit connects with my consciousness through this bridge of imagination. And then we go to animals, but we'll get there. Just wanted to give that as an example.
I love it. I love it. And you've mentioned that there's 4 ways to get messages from spirit guides. Share that with us, please.
Sure. Yeah. It's how we perceive things like this. It's really how we perceive the world too. And then we have these senses, visual, auditory. I've called this kinesthetic, sensory or kinesthetic, but I like sensory, sensations in the body. And the 4th one is typically called cognitive. We tend to analyze and think, etc. These days, though, more I'm thinking that term cognitive is really the synthesis of any combination of any of the previous 3 that I just mentioned, and we call it intuition. How did I get this message here? Well, one of my favorite ways, I should say, and the one that I use the most often is my hearing. I work with words a lot. It makes sense. I'm a wordsmith as well, so it makes sense that would be one of the primary ways of perceiving. And the other for me is sensory. My pitch to everybody who's listening to this is trust, go with your strongest. Okay, if you tend to be highly visual, trust that. If you tend to be more sensory, you get sensations in your body. Yeah, there you go, Paula.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good to know that, because then you start paying closer attention to that when there are signs or symbols that are indicating some sort of message that wants to come through to you. So, and then, like I say, cognitive, some people say cognitive is a fourth one, and often I will say that, and then I'll qualify it by saying what I just said, is that I think another way to say it is intuition. There's some combination. I get a sensation in my body, and then I hear certain words, and then I call that cognitive or intuition. Intuition's a pretty good word for all that.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. And let's touch on animal messages for a moment. I'm
Sure.
so fascinated by that. It's so fantastic.
Sure. The nice thing about receiving messages from animals, and more specifically spirit animals, again, similar to this example of the tree, is let's say I go outside the front door. I have a home office, and this has happened actually several times over the past few years. I hear this owl. I start singing with this owl. The physical owl has actually followed my two dogs and I, to the park and continued singing with one another. So that's one thing, just kind of fun to do. However, also there's a possibility that that physical owl showing up, that he's also being a courier of a message from the collective consciousness of all owls. Again, or all barn owls, or all great horned owls, or whatever, but all owls is the way I look at it. Simpler that way. So then, what do you do about it? Well, you look for what the message is, okay? And three ways that you can do that. One, look it up. You showed a book. That's one way. There's this wonderful thing called the internet. You do a search. Owl spirit, owl, animal spirit guide, etc. Try different ones and then see what comes up and see what resonates or clicks with you. That's a trick. There might be suggestions for like 8 different messages.
Mm-hmm.
But as you read them, maybe there's, let's see, number 3. Wow, yeah, that one. And number 7. So that's a possibility. There's also something we sometimes call owl medicine. And that's common types of messages that might come from that particular being, that particular animal. For instance, number 2, metaphor, characteristics of the physical animal that indicate a message. Example would be owls can see in the shadows. So when it comes to you, it may say, hey, you got to take a look at some of your own shadows, that stuff that wants to get buried in the background there. Or, heads up, someone you're involved with, there's some sort of shadowy stuff going on, and it helps your vision and your sense of what that is. The other is they're very stealthy. So owl may be saying to me, and again, this is number 2, the second way, to be a little bit, be stealthy yourself, Stephen. That's a possibility. Here's the third way. This one takes a little practice, but it's doable. People, whoever's listening, watching this, you can do this. Okay, look it up. If you're not, don't worry about that. Just look it up. Second, think about the animal's characteristics, and perhaps, like I demonstrated with owl, maybe those possibilities are there. Third, direct revelation. Close your eyes, take a breath, and I get chills on this one, so that's an indication that's working. I say owl spirit, not an owl, not the owl that sings. Owl spirit.
Owl spirit.
What's your message? And then, as soon as I ask that question, as soon as it comes into my mind, out of my mouth, either way, then I pay attention to what I receive. What I receive in my mind's eye when I close my eyes, visual, or my attention is drawn to something in the environment externally. So internal or external. Hearing, inside, the inner voice. What am I hearing in response to my question? Again, we've just collaborated. Our consciousness is just collaborated. And again, inside or outside, my attention may be drawn to something. As an important stranger walks by and says, "Yeah, I think I'm going to go and take a vacation." Okay, in response to my inquiry, um, and or what sensations do I get in my body? Do I find, oh, my stomach, my gut relaxes?
Oh,
Maybe that's telling me I need to relax a little more. I might interpret it that way. Anyway, you get the idea, and that's how you work with spirit animals. When an animal, here you go, this is my 25 words or less formulaic, but nonetheless it works. When an animal shows up in an unusual way, owl, it's pretty unusual around here. When an animal shows up in an unusual way and or repeatedly in a short space of time, that's what to look for. And it could be the physical animal, or it could be a symbol of the animal, like in a dream or on a
mhm.
poster or a billboard or something like that, or somebody talking about owl or about owls. Those are the ways that you can determine. Direct revelation is a very basic shamanic principle. What we do in shamanic work is go directly to the spirit guides to get the information.
Mm.
It's not exclusive to shamanism, and sometimes it's like distorted, but when it's pure in that sense and we get these revelations from our spirit guides, both the ones that are non-visible to us as well as the ones that we can see in the natural world. And that's the beauty of learning how to work with spirit animals, is they're available. They're all around us.
So exciting and so wonderful. Oh my gosh. It's a beautiful, we are, we are so lucky, so blessed. I
Well,
love that.
a lot of fun. A lot
Uh,
of fun too.
I do want to mention, Stephen, you're also a songwriter and a musician. Tell us a little bit about that.
What was the first one? You,
You're a songwriter and a musician.
a songwriter, musician. Yeah, yeah.
What
I
have
would
you
say
done?
at this point, I'd say former wannabe rock and
Uh-huh.
roll star. I was in a band early on and picked up
Oh,
a guitar when I was 16 years old, and I've never stopped really. Little pauses here and there. And I went through I've gone through a couple of different cycles where I've written some songs. And I think some of them are pretty good. I mean, I enjoy playing them. I like the words. I'm strong on lyrics, because I work with words, and I've really enjoyed it. I've done some what do you call it, open mic, stuff. Um, these days, mostly I just play here, in my office, and keep practicing singing out, to not
oh,
hold
how
back,
fun.
to really sing out. So, yeah, I got some tunes that I'm appreciative of. Let's put it that way.
Oh, how fun. What a great way to express. I love it. I love it. Uh,
Absolutely.
do you have any new books or upcoming events or anything coming up, Stephen?
I do. I'm going to refer people to my website, and it's DR, abbreviation for Dr. Stephen Farmer. And of course, that's with a V, drstephenfarmer.com. And I'd say go there. You can check out the announcements are there, and the Facebook, Dr. Stephen Farmer Facebook page. You can sign on that. There'll be announcements there. The biggest event that's coming up soon in October is a desert retreat out at Joshua Tree. Joshua Tree is one of my favorite places in the world. I've been to quite a few spots, but it is one of my top 10, let's put it that
Oh,
way. And
wow.
this particular one I'm doing with a couple of friends and colleagues. Marilyn Alaria, who's a gifted psychic medium, and Anna Maria, if I can say her last name, Anna Maria. I'm going to say Anna Maria.
Yes. Okay.
And um, she works a lot with nature spirits as well, so it's very compatible, the three of us. So we're doing something in October 27th, I think it is. But again, the specific information is on my website. Would
I'm
love to
going to
have you
check
join
that
us.
out. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm so
do
excited.
so, Paula. It'd be a kick, and
Yes.
it's a really beautiful time in the desert, October. I've been there several times, so I know
Oh,
that. It's
I
pretty
am
cool.
gonna check that out. Oh my gosh. Well, we have just a couple minutes left in the show. What last message do you want to give everyone today, Stephen? I mean,
The
we
la
could just go on for hours. This is great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, and again, I'll keep this brief. I know we're closing the end of the show. Um, I did a recent podcast because I have my podcast also, Paula, on gratitude at a request of the producer. And I thought, okay, great, because I'd been looking some stuff up on gratitude, and I came to some charts. It was this blows my mind. Some charts that listed the various vibrational frequencies of emotions. And it's true, we are energy. You know, we are vibrating all the time. We are emitting a certain frequency all the time.
Yes,
If you've ever been walked by somebody who's depressed, you can, if you're empathic at all, you feel that. You may not be consciously aware of why, but you feel it.
yes,
So that's what I'm talking about. This is the point of bringing all that up. I looked at a couple of charts and they both were consistent with this. And of course, love is a high vibration. It's not, according to these charts, again, it's not the highest. Joy, euphoria, those are but we're up here on this part of the scale. So uh, love was here. Gratitude was like 4 points above love. So I want to encourage everybody, as much as you possibly can. First off, you get into a funk or you have, some feeling that, you don't want to hang out in. Yeah, move off it as soon as you can. Talk to a friend, do something, to kind of, and come back to gratitude. Focus on those things that you're appreciative of, that you are thankful for. Go and say that to people sincerely, from your heart. I appreciate you. I appreciate the work that you've done. I thank you for the gift. I'm so grateful just to share it like this. I'm
yes.
time together. I'm really grateful for that. So that's my main message, is yes, love is important,
Yeah.
but boy, gratitude. A little
And
bit
that's
about
so
love.
simple, gratitude, but yet, yes, it's huge. I am big on vibration levels.
Okay.
That's
Well, yeah,
something I'm
Reiki.
very
Yeah, of
passionate about. I'm right there with you.
course.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, and
That
I've
you work
always
with that
been,
energy. Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
thinking of something I'm grateful for every morning sets my whole day,
It really
know,
does.
one
It
little
shifts things.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Stephen, I have so enjoyed you and so grateful to have had you on the show. Just thank you so much for all that you do for others.
My pleasure. And again, I return the thanks to you. You're very welcome, and thank you, for the work that you're doing in the world and the people that you affect. We never know doing stuff like this is,
Yeah.
you know, dominoes.
Yes, dominoes,
Pay it
positive
forward.
energy in the world.
Yeah,
Love.
pay it
Yep.
forward. And we need a lot of that right now to balance the scales because
Yep.
all the stuff that's going
Oh, well, love, hugs, and blessings. Everyone out there, love, hugs, and blessings. Thank you for joining us today. Bye.
on. Bye bye.